You're listening to Female Filmmakers Fuse with Alexa Poehler and Robin Pabello, only on LA Talk Radio.
Thank you and welcome to Female Filmmakers Fuse. I really quickly want to get into the elevator pitch contest. It's still open. Last day to submit your short screenplay, your short script, is April 1st.
April Fool's Day.
Right, April Fool's Day. So we pushed it to that date. We're giving everyone an opportunity to do this. It's a free contest. And basically, we're going to pick the top 6, and the top 6 will come and literally pitch their short script that they submitted in the elevator. They have literally like 50 seconds to pitch that. And then what we'll do is put it out to a vote. Public would vote. Top 3 will come back and do a legit sit-down pitch. And then the top 3 from there will get the winning project. And then we'll go into pre-production, production, like principal photography, all that, and then post. And that film will then premiere at the 3rd annual Female Filmmakers Fuse Film Festival, which takes place October, November, somewhere there. We'll figure it out. But the first year was late October, I believe, and then this year it was in November, the first week of November. So it just depends on where it lands. Also still accepting submissions for that. So you still have a chance. Submit. Yeah, you could listen to this show on the podcast streaming services like iTunes, Google Play, whatnot. We do put it on YouTube, although I have failed to do so the past couple shows, and I promise I will get back into that as soon as life allows me to. And to call in live, you can always call in at 818-602-4929. I'm going to go slower this second time. 818-602-4929. All right, let's get this going. So Robin's here.
Ew.
Yeah.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. And Robin is huge on birthdays.
I am. Oh my God. Today is Lucy's birthday, which is Alexa's puppy's. And then tomorrow is my puppy's birthday, which is on my Instagram.
And then Robin's birthday is on the 20th. So yes. So happy birthday to Robin on the 20th.
Thank you. And Alexa's is on the 19th.
Right. But so
it goes her dog, my dog, her, me. Ta-da!
Wow.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Pisces.
It wasn't really
Pisces,
planned.
Aries,
well, yes.
Yeah.
March babies.
But that other voice that you hear.
Like I started talking.
No, I'm glad that you did. Joanne Chew.
Hello. Happy St. Patty's Day.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Also, I do want to say there was a really tragic event that took place in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yes. But I want to just speak on how the politicians are handling that in New Zealand. It's amazing.
Right.
They banned assault rifles. Mm-hmm. Literally the following day that it happened. I read
that they're going to be helping out the families.
They're
of
paying
the victims.
They're paying for the funeral, and then they're helping them with regardless of their status. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, that's huge.
Well, yeah.
They called it out though. Like, let's put that out there. They literally called it out what it was, while other countries like ours when when there is. And we've had many tragic events like that, and it's obvious as to who it is. They don't list it as what it is. Exactly. It is an act of terrorism.
Exactly.
It's an act of terrorism.
Yeah, if it's
terrorism,
like clearly a hate crime, they call it something else.
They call it some lone gunman, you know, blah, blah, blah. No, look,
mentally unstable somebody.
Right?
Yeah.
And they never call it what it is, except if it's anything that's any darker shade, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Or religion, or wherever part of the country they may come from, like it's, and then ultimately call out bans immediately. Let's do a Muslim ban.
Exactly.
Let's do this. If you're going to be quick to judge and call out things, and be quick on all spectrums, okay? Like, there is a huge problem with the hate crime, how it's gone up since our
that is our government.
That's our government. That's why I'm saying, like, New Zealand has led by example. Like, I am in awe how they're handling this and how quickly they are to just call it as it is. There's no hiding anything. They said it right away. They said, this is our far right white what do you say?
Supremacists.
Terrorists,
yeah.
yes. And they said it just like that, and I was shocked because they would never say anything like
Exactly.
that here. They would never say far right or far. They will say far left.
They would like dance around it
Yeah.
way more instead of just like, okay, let's just get straight to the point.
Exactly, exactly.
So the question is, why do you think that is? Because I had the same reaction where I was just like, okay, this country is embracing its people, where we're kind of doing the opposite.
Exactly.
We're segregating ourselves.
Exactly.
Which
It's
is
getting more and more divided
correct
as we go along.
on many levels, and that's what's so hurtful for humanity. I mean, the fact that New Zealand, like you said, regardless of status or whatever it may be, that's still your home country. So those people
Exactly.
that are there that have
They are your people.
Yeah, exactly.
born and raised, regardless of your religion, your color, your creed, whatever it may be. I mean, you're still there. That's where your livelihood is. That's where your family is.
And I don't know if you guys are aware, but Trump did send out a recent post.
So he said
he
something
tweeted,
like warm wishes or best wishes, and I'm like, people.
not even that one.
Like,
the
okay.
most recent one where he's saying he's this is towards the people that influence that type of hate. And he said, don't let them take away the things that they want to take away. Be prepared to fight. Why would you tweet something like that after this has happened?
Okay.
I'm in shock. Like, I haven't heard that.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
this was
what?
yeah, this is recent. So
I'm very guilty of this. I will freely admit I have completely ignored, like, pretty much almost anything unless it's sent to me to read from my uncle, my godfather. Look what's going on, and I'm like, I don't want to know.
the same. I'm the same way. It's like I want to be informed about the issues that I'm passionate about. But like when it comes to our president, I'm just like, when people are like, oh, did you see what he said today? I was like, I can't look at that.
Yeah.
I feel like you just get dumber.
My thing is the reason why it's I like to be informed to the point where I'm prepared for what's coming.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
My brother made up a good point the other day, and it was a scary point. My mom right now is healing at a rehabilitation center because she needs physical therapy. That kind of rehabilitation. Robin didn't understand what that meant.
What? No, it's because your mom's closet like drugged. I'm just kidding.
It's not passages rehab. It's a
right,
different kind of
exactly.
rehab.
Thank you. See, Joanne gets it. But so my mom's been healing there because she's had a lot of procedures and it's been taking its toll. And so thankfully she's getting stronger and better. And my brother went there and he came back and he was talking to me about it. And he's like, with everything that's going on, there's no security. Anyone could walk in. And he's like, and it sucks that because of everything that's going on, that's where my mind went.
Exactly, and like she's in such a the people
Vulnerable.
that are there, they're so vulnerable. Exactly, that's terrifying actually.
Yeah, that's what I mean, and it sucks that our mind now has to think that way. That's why it's a scary thought. I remember when Robin used to be a school teacher, and I used to tell her way before Trump. I used to be like, hey, you never know, because there was a shooting at an elementary school once, and I was telling Robin, I was like, it was a second grade, and I was like, you should prepare your kids, and she was doing this before.
This is before it was very publicized, and it was, so I just recently ran into a group of teachers, and it was such an interesting thing. I was in the women's restroom at a pit stop, and I had heard them over talking like, did you guys get your buckets? Is your buckets in your classrooms? And I was like, oh, I know exactly what they're talking about. A safety bucket for them to use a restroom in case they're in lockdown. These are teachers that were from kindergarten to 8th grade talking about this in a public restroom, and I was just like, cringing. And so like they looked at me because they must have saw my facial reaction, and I was like, I like the fact that you guys are preparing for it, but it's the saddest thing to hear.
And it's just like you hear about, like, I read somewhere like this, like a mother was crying because her son was in school and he was like 10 years old or something, and the teacher was, in case there's a shooting, like, this is what we do, and this is,
yeah.
And he like, and she asked, like, I think, forgive me if I'm getting like the details wrong, but I think the teacher was asking like who would like to volunteer to be like to help like barricade the door and move furniture, and her son volunteered because he said, if anything happens to my friends, I don't want to be alive either. And like I was like bawling.
Wow.
like they're 10 years old and they have to have that in their mind.
Sort of mind, yeah. It's
So-
a scary thing.
Yeah, because like here's the thing. So second graders, they were 7 at the time. I had to teach them to stay closest to the window or where
Exactly.
to hide,
Oh my
not
gosh.
underneath the desk,
Yeah.
because if there's a shooter and they're looking through the windows,
It's a very easy target, and you're like
Yeah.
under the table. You
and
can't
that's
go in
not
there.
going to
Yeah.
help you. And the fact that, you know, I was also suggesting, like, instead of having to open the door to lock it, let's have locks on the inside.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, it was just kind of like terrifying to think that we have to teach and expose innocence to this because
Yeah.
of our society and where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gotten worse and worse. And the question is why?
Leadership.
There you go. I'm just
that's-
like,
There's predominant people that are influencing weak minds. That's what it comes down to. And then you have other people that if it doesn't go along with their agenda, then we're demonized for it, which is ironic.
exactly.
You know, so there's a further separation. That we're becoming more and more divided. It's a weird place to be.
And I mean, it's like, it's so, I mean, I'm like, half of me is like so angry about it, and the other half I'm just like really sad, because this is not how we move forward and
Right.
make things better. And it's like, because I know, especially with with shooting and gun control, it's just, I know there's a lot of issues that we need to take into account. Like, we do need to focus on mental health, and you know, if people need help, we need to figure out how to give them the help they need, because I
Right.
feel like everybody deserves a chance.
Absolutely.
You know? But at the same time, we need, you know, there's children dying for absolutely no reason
Right.
at all. Like, that's just, I feel like,
Just
I mean, just in my
innocent.
brain, that
Yeah.
should be like the priority. Like, how do we make sure that they're safe?
Exactly.
And that's a good question. And it comes down to, like, who's going to be able to answer it and follow through and execute it.
Exactly.
And that's a good point. You raise a good point, because like you see the students at Parkland and everything they have done. I was amazed by how they persevered
Exactly.
above that, and they're still advocates about it. You know, they're still very vocal on it. They're not stopping.
Exactly. And they were just like, they're so young, and like right after such a traumatic incident happened, like they were all so poised, and like they got up there and they took action, instead
Right.
of like the grown-ups are like beating around the bush, and they're focusing on stuff that's not really important.
But
and,
then
like,
here's the kicker. Then they get bullied by
Yeah.
anyone that is opposed to what they're saying. They're getting, and they're taunt, and it's ridiculous. And these are adults treating these children that went through something
Exactly.
traumatic like that. And they're making fun of them. Oh, they're not going to get through college. Haha. I mean, it's really disheartening. Well,
Yeah.
here's a kicker to add to that. Then you have this kid that smirked at a Native American, right?
Yes.
Okay, that went viral.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of
I
like,
saw
you don't
that.
know the full story. I was like, right, you don't know the full story, right? So this kid was there because he was marching to discuss how women's rights. So he wasn't there to say like women should have the right. No, he was there to discuss how abortion should be banned. That's why this kid was there. So he was there to a group of boys from a private Christian school were there to discuss banning abortion. Okay, and they were talking about women's rights and all that, but it wasn't for women's rights. So let's just keep that in mind. Then the same people that taunted the Parkland kids were now saying these are just children, let them be, you don't know the full side of the story. And it's really, really weird and odd to me
double
how
standards much.
Thank
like,
you. The
a lot.
hypocrisy
Like,
is just
yeah.
like, what is going on? Like, yeah, why don't you take what you're saying
and actually apply
and
it.
apply it? Where was that when you were taunting these Parkland
Exactly.
kids? And they were going to school on a regular day, and then there was something tragic that
And it's
happened.
like you
and
see
then,
your friend die, and
yeah,
you know.
but no, don't discuss that. Don't take the guns
Exactly.
away. But anyways, we're swaying way too far into politics.
No, it's fine. I mean,
mean,
these are current events that need to be addressed
Right.
and heard and
Exactly, and I feel
spark
like we
an
don't
idea.
have the luxury of being impartial anymore.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, that's true. But I do want to discuss you.
Oh.
Okay, so you're you're an actress.
Yes.
But you also produce as well, correct?
I helped associate produce my first films. Actually, very good friends of mine, Marcus Thomas and Nicole Starrett, and it's and kind of amazing that we are talking about how everything is divided and people are splitting up, because the movie is about, it's called The Divisible, and it's just very much, I feel like when I read the script, I was crying. And it's just very much about where the country could potentially end up, which is frightening because it's like a post-apocalyptic situation, and it touches on so many things like hate crimes, interracial marriages, and immigration and children's safety, and like everything that we've just been talking about. And I feel like it's important to make these kinds of films, and I feel like that's going to help communicate the message a lot more, because I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like movies, people relate to it instantly. Like regardless of what side you're on, it's just like you form an instant opinion versus different other ways of communicating the ideas.
No, and it's good, and that's what is great about making films is you can provide positive, uplifting messages while teaching lessons and making it entertaining as well. So that's why I love filmmaking. And you have different types of films. You have powerful ones like that with a message, and then you have ones that are just literally there to entertain.
Yes,
just take your mind off for like an hour and a half. Just
exactly,
unwind,
because sometimes that's what
you need
to stay
exactly.
sane. We need to check out for a second with what's happening.
Yeah, and then as an artist,
yes.
Because you're an artist as well, you paint.
I do, yes. I had my first art show last night. It went very well, and the good part is it was to benefit this amazing organization, Casa of Los Angeles.
Nice.
It's court-appointed special advocates. They train volunteers to advocate for the foster community, which is just so important, because I feel like it's really sad how a lot of young people in that category they can fall through the cracks.
Yeah,
and
very quickly too.
Yeah. No, and that's what's great, because then that's an outlet as well.
Exactly. That's what I mean. The way I started painting. This is kind of hilarious, but like you said, sometimes we need to talk about the funny stuff to take our mind off
the serious stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I painted as a kid, and then I fell out of it. And how I got back into it was a few years ago. I was upset about a boy. And then my friend was like, let's go to this painting in Vino thing. She's like, we'll drink wine, we'll paint. And she's like, don't even think about him. And I was like, okay. And then we went, and we had so much fun. And that's kind of how I started gradually getting back into it. And like you said, it's another outlet, especially with what's going on in the world today. Like, it's just good to be able to check out and just to keep the creative energy going, like just to be in the process of constantly creating something. I feel like the universe, it's just going to open up and offer you more, which is kind of hilarious, because when at my art show yesterday, I was just walking around, I was mingling, and I actually got to meet the lead actor and actress of a web series I'm going to be working on next month, and we've never met in person. We've just been like we've just been like emailing, and they've been like sending call sheets and everything. And I just went up to her, and her name's Ellen. The web series is called Boomers, and it's about people from the baby boomer generation, like aging. It's absolutely hilarious, because when I was auditioning, I watched the first season, and I just went up to her, and I was just, hi, I'm gonna be in the 4th episode. I'm so excited to meet you. And she's like, what? And I was like, I saw you. And I was like, I know that face. And it's just so weird how it's all
small world.
Exactly. It's such a tiny world. And I was like, yay.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Exactly, yeah.
So when are you shooting that?
Let's see, my shoot date, it's April 6th.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's written and directed by Nancy Hendrickson, Sarah Caldwell. So I'm super, super excited about that.
It's very cool. Now, you and I met.
Yes, all three of us.
Three. I was going to say, because I didn't know if you met Robin before, because she's working
we all
a
met.
lot.
We all met at the same.
At the same, it was for PSA.
Yes.
And Skylar was the director, right? She was the director.
Yes, she was.
And Sarah was
producer.
Yes. Yeah, Sarah's going to be on the show. The end of the month. Yeah, she's going to be here on the 31st, I believe. That falls on a Sunday.
Oh,
but
I love
she's
Sarah.
Yeah. But anyhow, that's where I met you.
Yes.
That's where we met.
I Am Christine Blasey Ford Project.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes. And there was a lot of amazing women
that was
there.
It was so incredible. And we also, like getting connected with Skylar and everybody and all of you wonderful ladies, because I think I saw that you messaged Don't Silence Me, because that's how I.
Oh yes. Oh my gosh.
So and I was just like, Sarah worked on that too.
Yeah, I saw that. Okay, so I met her.
See, it's like everything is like so connected.
See, Robin and I met her at the Hollyweb. Is it the Hollyweb?
Holly Shorts?
Hollyweb Shorts.
The awards.
Whom? Sarah?
No,
Oh.
I can't. I don't want to say her name wrong.
Mari?
Yeah,
Mari.
Yes.
Well, she starred in the video.
Yes.
Mari,
Yes. You remember she
Yeah.
was there with that gentleman, like she was helping him out because he needed like a translator or whatnot.
Yes.
Okay, so
was the gentleman he was French or?
I think so.
Or something,
I think
yeah,
so. Yes,
okay.
And that's how we. And she was the sweetest, nicest
She's
person. She's
adorable.
amazing. And then we connected on social media after meeting there, and that was it. And then when I saw you shared that, and I didn't know it was her, but I was like,
wow.
that's crazy. She looks familiar. And
I
then,
know, it's like that face. I've seen
small
that
world.
face. Exactly.
And then I saw that she had posted it, and she was talking about it, and I was like, oh my God, it is you. So I messaged her and I asked her, and I was like, I would love to get you on this show.
Oh.
And so she's going to be on the show as well.
Yes, I'm actually going to see her tomorrow because it's at a conference. Oh my gosh, look, I'm like
Blanking.
exactly.
Okay.
It's just been so nutty, but it's they're going to be screening the music video again tomorrow.
Such a great song
It's
too.
amazing. Like I got to meet Sadie Jemmett at the screening, and it's just because this is it's another project that's aimed at female empowerment, and it's just to help survivors of sexual assault and to promote the Me Too movement in a positive way, because I know there's like a lot of negative connotations with it now,
there's negative with everything.
exactly.
But yeah.
But then also like the same thing with I'm Christine Blasey Ford project, where we all met. Like that was just so, because that's how I actually connected with Mari. Like I said, I worked on this because I feel like it's just very important to give women a voice. Like because where it hits me the most is the women who can't speak up because maybe it's just too dangerous, or the women who have died at the hands of their abuser, or women who are in jail because they had to defend themselves the only way they could. So I feel like that's just something that's very important that we keep pushing forward.
Yeah, no, and it's a strong topic, and I know that you're passionate about it because I see a lot of the things that you post, and it's weird because I see a lot of with your art, which is great. You're really talented. I feel that a lot of like what you're saying, it's a creative outlet, and your feelings are displayed on that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There's sometimes I could tell where like, okay, so she was at a place where she was just fully emotional on this type of level regarding this subject, and this is her outlet, and then she made it into something beautiful.
I mean, oh my God, thank you. I mean, there have been moments like certain paintings where I wasn't in the best state of mind, but I'm like, I'm just going to start painting and see what comes out.
Yeah.
And, I feel like that I would, that's how I want to channel the less positive, because I don't want to say that, there's negative feelings and there's positive feelings, because I feel like we should be authentic and true to how we feel. But in terms of how like the political climate is, and just how everybody's so emotionally charged, like I would rather try to figure out how to channel that into doing something positive versus just like arguing with everybody. Because like some people have been telling me like, why are you not speaking up about this? Because I thought, your generation was all about, speaking up against, what you see is wrong. And I said, I do believe in speaking up, but sometimes like there are people out there who just want to pick a fight, who just want to be nasty. And if I want to promote a cause, like I would love to go support a march or support an event, or help make a movie about it that will communicate this idea.
I think that's a better way of speaking up.
Exactly, because I'm just like arguing. It's just not
I
going to
think
move anything forward
It's
at
not.
all.
It's
well,
not.
I also believe that people are, like you said, they are just looking for a fight. They're
Exactly.
just looking to rile somebody up. And, it doesn't need to be instant. And that's what that comes down to, is that they want an instant gratification
Exactly.
of someone speaking out. Whereas, if you're doing your art, it's going to last, or a film, it's going to last, and it'll be shared, and not just within your small community. It can be shared worldwide.
Exactly, like what happened with Don't Silence Me, because I've been trying. I'm like, I was kind of busy the last couple of weeks, but I went online, and it was like BBC aired it, and she's bringing it to Europe and Glasgow, I think.
Okay,
it's like all over the place. And the thing that inspired me the most, because Mari and the director Jen Page, who's also amazing, like I loved how this was like another female-driven project. I read a post that they wrote a couple days ago. They said in the beginning, we just have to make a project. We need to love the video, even if 2 people see it.
Yes.
But it caught on like wildfire.
Fire. Yeah,
Fire,
no, I get you.
Wildflower. Oh, jeez. I'm like,
Super Bloom is on.
Yeah, it's fun, and I was amazed by the amount of views in such a short time frame.
I feel like, the last time I checked a few days ago, it was like over 30,000. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 40 or 50 or more by now.
Yeah. I've watched it a couple of times. It's really great. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a great music video. The song's great. I like it because it sounds...
It's on my iPod. I run with it now.
Right? But the thing is, it's like you hear it, and it has this... it takes you back. It sounds like something like Janis Joplin would
yes,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, holy hell. Like, and I didn't realize that it was an original song until I was looking more into it, because I was like, dude, this sounds
Sadie
like...
wrote it for Mari.
Yeah,
exactly.
and it sounds like something I've heard before, but it's original. But does that make sense? Because it just
because it's
get
like,
called to it.
Because I had the same feeling when I first heard it, because I said, okay, it's something that's very relatable. Like as women, I feel like we will connect to it immediately. But also, it's just like a very nostalgic throwback to artists that we've heard before, and it's just incredible. Because what I love about the video, it's just there's women of all ages, because even there's a very adorable little girl in one part of it, and all shapes and sizes, all races, all walks of life, everybody coming together from different backgrounds. And I'm like, this is what we need to do. We need to realize that we are all more connected to each other.
We should lift each other up instead of
and this is how we unite and try to turn something dark into something more positive.
Okay, so for those listeners that haven't seen this, where can they find this video?
You, if you just go onto Facebook and type in "Don't Silence Me," it's gonna be there, and it was featured on CBS News too. So I feel like if you just type I'm
gonna go ahead and do the shout out. So what I'll do is I'll share it on our link. Yeah, I'll put it on our post. Yes. Yeah, because it deserves it. I mean, there's certain projects that just wow. And this is one of them. And it's a music video. It's beautifully shot. It has amazing women in front of the camera, behind the camera, and it's like I want to promote it.
I know. I got to speak with so many, I got to meet so many incredible women, because a lot of the women in the video, they were Cosby survivors, Harvey Weinstein, and like to hear of what they've gone through, like I always feel emotional, like because whenever like I watch the panels, and it's just they had to dig in so deep and come out with this, because there's like an incredible woman, Lily Barnard. She was she came forward when Cosby was going through his trials, because she was I don't want to call her a victim, but she was, because she is not, she's a victorious woman, but like when I was listening to her on the panel, and like she said, for the longest time she kind of blocked it out, which is, I think that's what happens when a lot of people go through traumatic situations. But when Cosby went on trial, and she said everything came back, and and it led to a sort of mental breakdown. Like she had to be hospitalized, and she was just like, she really dug deep, because she's just like, my 6-year-old daughter had to see this. I need to, and her sons were encouraging her to come forward.
Right.
And she's like, I have to do this, just to show my daughter, to teach my daughter. And she and her daughter were also in the video. So I'm just like, it was just really powerful to hear her speak, and like what she had gone through, and just to turn it into something this powerful. Because when I went to the screening a couple of weeks ago, I'm like, it's going to take me a long time to be able to process what just happened. Yeah.
Wow. That's Yeah, I don't even. You left me. Yeah, no, and a lot of people don't understand that. I'm writing I wrote a screenplay, a feature, and I'm revamping it because I've learned so much based on all these women coming forward and being.
It's really inspiring how brave they've had to be.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've been meeting with a therapist to help me to make sure that this story is told accurately. Right, because it's like she corrected me because I was like, it's not based on a true story. She's like, but it is a true story because it's someone's story. Correct. And I was like, okay, I like that. Yeah, I mean, I don't like that, but I like how
exactly.
You know, because
you don't like that it happened to somebody.
Exactly, and so
it needs to be shared.
Yeah, so I've been working on it, and now we're making it stronger and revamping it. I'm saying we because she's helped me so much, and so I'm gonna make it, different. And it's because of women like that, women like you, who have come out and been vocal about things and been supportive and been saying like we shouldn't be silenced, just like the music video.
Exactly, and it's just I know it's like it gets to a sensitive topic because I know for men, because I'm trying to be sympathetic to their side of it, because now they said it could be really dangerous. We could be falsely accused of something, and our lives will be forever changed.
And that has happened.
That has happened.
Exactly.
The percentage of it, though,
exactly,
is so much.
Small.
It's so small, and it's crazy that the way anyone that's been abused, the treatment that they receive, it's automatically like that's why people don't come out.
Exactly, and it's. Like, I'm so thankful for the men that come out and say this, too. They're like, the percentage of a man being falsely accused of something that he didn't do, it's like I don't know, it's like they said 2 or 3%. Yeah. They said 1 in 4 women. Like, in like everyone, which is, like, really upsetting to me because I'm just like, we need to make this better for, like, the younger generations. Because, I mean, I don't have children yet, but a lot of my friends have children. I'm like, I don't want their daughters to have to grow up with this.
Right.
And and it also comes down to daily and in your interactions and being able to be strong enough to say, hey, would you speak to your mother this way, or your sister, or your aunt, or your grandmother, or your daughter? Because I've said that, and sometimes it's like radio silent.
Yeah, or they're
sometimes
like, you're making too big a deal out of it.
Yes.
And it's just like, because my whole thing is the Me Too movement. It's like it's so not an anti-male movement because we want to also uplift male survivors as well. And again, at the Don't Silence Me, at the screening, like afterwards when they had Q&A, there was a gentleman that stood up, and he said that when he was younger, he had survived sexual abuse as well, and he was just so ashamed. He never talked about it, and he held it in. And then he said that he ended up getting brain cancer, and he just said, I undoubtedly feel that that had a connection because I was just holding this in for so long and not voicing it and not figuring out how to work through it. That it can make you internally ill, which I think there's definitely a connection.
Yeah. I think so too. I talked to someone that had similar things. He was he talked to me about it and told me that he was sexually abused, and then he told me I think he had stomach cancer. I don't remember what. And
or they come, like, I've heard people like they develop like autoimmune disorders all of a sudden, and it's a lot of
internalized turmoil. I mean, it's a lot of stress, and that's the reason why too, like that goes hand in hand with like mental illness too, and just being able to be in a safe space. Just because you look okay, just because you're smiling.
No, that's very true. Because like the meme that's been going around, and it's just like I'm glad it's been circulated so widely, but I feel like people are starting to like make a parody about it. But it's just, always check in with people, like ask, are you okay? Especially like the strong. They say like the people who appear the strongest. Externally, they have a lot of stuff going on inside, and they feel like they don't. I don't feel like anybody should feel like they can't speak up about something.
And I do want to say real quick, I want to circle back to the false accusations. I do recall a couple of times where, and I've seen it portrayed, I think twice on 2 different TV shows, 2 very different times. I think one I saw it in the 90s and the other one was more recent. And a person came out and said this person abused me. and then it ended up not being true.
Mm-hmm.
But the detective, in both instances, very different types of shows too, but this is, I feel is true, said, and they said the same thing. It was really weird. They said, just because she falsely accused of someone doesn't mean it didn't happen to her. And they said that they find that sometimes when someone speaks up, they're either too afraid to speak up towards the person that really did it, or can't fully accept who did it.
Exactly.
So they're just,
it's more often than not, it's somebody close to home.
Exactly. And so they're saying, like, so this person that may be falsely accused, and I'm not saying that there is no false accusations. I'm saying, like, maybe you should really read into it, because it's stemming from somewhere.
Exactly.
You know, so maybe they mistook something, and I again, don't mistake what I'm saying. If there's already scarring there, if there's already something that pre-exists.
Exactly.
And
that changes how they their
process
thought
things,
process
exactly.
and how their mind works. And
so like the Bill Cosby, you know, she said she pushed it down so far that when she saw him, it all came back up. So it could be where you get touched a certain way, and it's kind of like, you know, and
like
then
out of nowhere.
Exactly. And so maybe the person wasn't intending it to be abused, and then this person's like, you just abused me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's not so much a false accusation. It could be that it's stemming from somewhere that is too deep. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's just like, it makes total sense to me, because like, and I feel like, you know, the word trigger, like, it triggers people the wrong way now.
Right.
Like, there's like, you know, because everybody has them, and it's just based on your own experience and like, you know, like what you've been through. Like, maybe your mom screamed at you because you spilled something, or I don't know, like when you were a child, like something that shouldn't be that big of a deal. But then like you could be an adult, and to have somebody like talk to you that same way, it can kind of like throw you back into that mindset. And I'm like, that might not have been the best analogy, but
no,
like,
it makes sense, because
like,
you never know what triggers you, and
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be necessarily a bad thing. It's just something that
you can trigger happy memories.
exactly.
Like,
I mean, and then sad memories too. Like I remember, I know that there's a Beatles song that every time I hear it, it instantly I feel frightened because it reminds me of death. And it was when I was a kid in Long Beach, and I heard my grandmother she got a phone call, and I was playing, and I could hear her screaming because she got a call that her brother had passed away. And I've never dealt with death. This is before my grandfather passed away, and that's the closest person that passed away when I was a kid, because before that I never dealt with it. And that sound, and the thing is, in the other room, my brother was in his room, and he was playing the Beatles, and he so happened to be playing that song. So I associate that song with that memory. So now every time, and it's not one of their most popular songs, but when I hear that song, it's like immediately it takes me back to that.
I'm like that. I have like a similar situation. This might sound funny or not, but I was like when I hear crows calling, I get really scared, because when I was a kid, my grandmother lived in Taiwan, and then we got a phone call, like they said she was dying, and my sister was studying abroad in Japan at the time. So my mom's like, okay, we're gonna go to Japan, we're gonna go get your sister, and then we're gonna go to Taiwan so we can say goodbye to grandma. And we were sightseeing at a park in Japan one day, and we heard a whole bunch of crows calling, and then my mom's dying, right? Like and she said it really calmly, like she's like, my mom's dying right now. She's like, when you hear crows call, it means, you know, somebody that you love is gonna die. And then like I freaked out, and then my mom's like, okay, because I was like 12 at the time. She's like, that's superstition, and we go to church, like we believe in God. Like she was just like, and she was also trying to say, she's like, she said it was just something she intuitively felt, and she was just like, this is like the connection that you have with your mother, because it's like sometimes like I'll have like a weird feeling, and then like I'll call my mom, I'm like, are you okay or whatever, and she's just like, when, you know, like she's like, I don't want to scare you, but she's like, when it's my time, she's like, I think, she's like, even if you're not next to me, she's like, I think you're gonna know. And then when we got to Taiwan, like my aunt was like, I'm so sorry, grandma already passed away, and it was like that exact time that it happened. So like now I'm just like, it might sound kind of funny, but I'm like, okay, if like I hear a crow call, I'm like, I need to text everybody right now and be like, is everything okay? I'm like,
No, that makes sense. My mom said similar things, but about crows too. She was like, they represent. And I'm like, okay.
And I'm like, and it depends where you look at it, because like, I've read like crows also can represent like good luck and prosperity and abundance. So I was just like, okay, let's take that. Exactly. I'm going with that one now. Like, yeah.
But it's true. Like we have this intuition, and when you have a connection with someone, that's what it is.
Yeah.
There's my mom, like I said, she's going through some health stuff, and it was one night I was having a hard time sleeping. I was like really having a difficult time sleeping, and I said, nope, I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna force myself to go to sleep. And as I was doing that, this thought came in my head, and it was like, if you don't go check up on your mom right now, she's not gonna make it through the morning. It was like clear as that. That's the sentence that I pretty much heard in my head. And I was like, I'm going crazy. Like, that's ridiculous. No. And I said, I'm tired. I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to try to do this. And every time I was just like head on my pillow, really getting into that, like, I can do this. I'm going to go to sleep. And then it came again, and it was getting stronger and stronger. And I felt it. And I was like, I'm going to go check up on my mom. So I did. I went and checked up on my mom. And her room was dark. She was like, pretty much she slept all lights off. It was just dark, and so I couldn't see anything. I was just like walking in, and I was like, Mom, are you okay? My dad's asleep, and my mom's like, no. How did you know? And she's like, I can't breathe. Gosh. I took her to the hospital, and that's where everything started going.
Yeah.
My
God. I'm like, I feel like I'm getting cold over.
But it was, it was weird because the whole drive to the hospital. I was like looking at her, and I was thinking, where do I pull over? Because I feel like any moment something's going to happen to my mom. I was like processing this as I was driving. I was trying to be safe, but quickly get there.
Because you're like, you need to get her to the
hospital.
I
need to get her to the hospital. And it was very scary because it was reminding me of my grandfather. He didn't make it. Like my aunt took him to the hospital, and he passed away literally at the hospital steps.
Oh my God.
And so I was just like, okay, I was like freaking out. So it took me back to that. And then she had a procedure that day, like, and the doctor came to me, and he was like, it was a good thing that you brought her in. And I was like,
thank God. Yeah.
My dad was scared to talk to me for like 3 days because he's like, I think you're like a witch. I was just like, no.
I also like.
Do it.
No, I mean, because I also get like, because like my friends kind of make fun of me too, because I think it's just like it's just
you
like
just
your
feel
intuition, and people are like, you're crazy, and it's like sometimes
you're not.
Yeah.
You're not crazy.
I was like, well, I'm like, maybe we're all a little bit crazy. It's just like,
No, you're just more sensitive, and you're more aware of things. That's the way I look at it. I mean, your mother is like that.
Yeah.
You're like that. Your mother is like that.
My mother is the same. Like, she's just like instinctively, like sometimes she'll like say things, and I'm like, that's like so insane, what's wrong with you? And then it turns out to happen, and she's like, I told you, like, like,
oh my goodness.
It's like all these little things,
right? I like told you, my mom says that in Spanish.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, my mom will tell me stuff, and I'm like, stop telling me that, you're freaking me out. And she was just like, just listen, like,
right?
See, you guys are like, my mom doesn't do that. Like,
really?
I'm the one that does it to her.
And does she tell you to like calm down, or I don't know, or what does she say?
No, she just looks at me like I'm the crazy one. I'm like, no, you just look at it, just pay attention. I also like to people watch and try to observe things. So
you gotta understand though, I love Robin. I love your mom, and she's the cute, like she's just adorable. But my thing is,
like the Female Filmmakers
Fuse
Film Festival last year. She was helping.
She, to me, the way I best describe her is she is a positive sitcom. Does that make sense? Like a Disney sitcom, because there's nothing. Things could be going. Like bombs could go off around her, and she'll just be like, I'm gonna spin this to a positive thing, and that's how she lives life. And
I'm
that's
the
incredible.
Same way. I was taught that way from my mom. Like, you just make the best of every situation, no matter how crappy it is, because being miserable or being negative is not going to help the situation. But yeah, she absolutely is totally Disney princess.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I'm
that's
just like, I can see her like skipping down the street.
Totally. That is my mother.
Yeah, people are running from zombies, and she'll be skipping away like, it's okay.
She's like, look, we're fine. I'm alive. Yeah.
Right. Like, that's how I see her. It's funny. So yeah,
I'm the protector.
Yeah, and that I keep away from Robin's mom for a reason. Wait, hang on. Let me explain why, because that came off wrong. The reason why I do is because
is she listening right now? We love you, Robin's mom.
That is actually her name, Robin's mom, just so you guys know.
But No, let me clarify. The reason why is because I am very I don't let things slide at all. So if someone is wronging someone, if someone upsets me or someone else is not so much, but someone else, I am very verbal. And she gets very tense, and I don't like her when she gets tense. Not that I don't like her. I don't like to make her feel that way. So I try to stay away because she just doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, she doesn't like confrontation.
Like that too. She doesn't like the confrontation. That's
She
normal.
wasn't always like that, though.
No,
My mom wasn't always like that. My mom was very me and my mom were like the same. So she was very
so when
confrontational.
you're older, you're not going to be.
I mean, that's how, like, because it's weird because, like, my dad's told me this before. He was just like, you are like your mom all over again, like when she was young. Because it's just like, because my mom, like, and I mean, I hope to aspire to be like even half of the woman she is, but it's just like I hear all these stories of like back in the day, my mom would just be like nothing slides, and like you know, she's gonna like bust your balls and everything, and she's like, now she's just like, now I'm older, I'm just like
more docile.
Exactly, because she's just like, you know, and it's like the big picture. She's like, I've had a really good life, and she was like, my main priority is making sure you and your sister are okay, and she's like, the rest, she's like, okay, we're still alive, we're breathing, we have a house, we have food, because it's just like, I mean, it's like scary. Like, she's like, anything could happen, we could get blown away in 5 minutes, and you know, there's nothing we could do about it.
See, with me, like, my mom was like, she was definitely like very nurturing, very loving, very like positive, every outlook you can possibly do. But at the same time, like, I was the protector, like I was the more of like the outspoken. I totally, it's so bad.
Well, because her mom hasn't changed that aspect of it.
Well, no, because I took that away from her, but like I definitely am super protective of my family. I'm very like, I'm very. She used to call me, what is it, defender of justice, and I was like,
oh my
sorry.
gosh,
and it sucked. It sucked because I would get in trouble for it a lot because I'd be like, I don't know this person, but I'm going to defend them because it looks like they're not having this issue. I admire your mom because your mom has always been very strong and very. Like how you are, like you see something and you go for it.
So I do want to say this. So my mom once, we grew up in Long Beach, and one time she felt like her oldest son was in trouble. So she was walking down the street. We're in our neighborhood and where we lived, and she saw that he was walking towards her, and there was this gentleman. Be nice by calling him a gentleman. He was really on drugs. He was really and he was black. And he went to my mom never met her, they didn't know her, and punched her in the face and knocked her out.
Oh, jeez.
The police came and everything. They arrested him. My brothers went berserk. They got 4x4s. Like, they were gonna go because it was like, you hit my mom. Like, what the, you know?
I'm just like,
but here's the thing is, like, we saw a lot of things like that, and even with something like that, my mom said it. That's one person that was going through something.
Correct.
Because a lot of. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, and this is how I was taught, this is how she raised me. She's like, doesn't matter the color of his skin. He was going through something tough, and I just happened to. I'm glad that it was me and not my son. But my brother also got attacked by the same guy, but not nearly as bad as my mom. But that's the type of person that my mom is. Where other people see that, and all of a sudden they judge every single person because. It was a traumatic experience. You know what I'm saying?
I'm guilty. Like, I'm trying to like do that as well. I feel like I go back and forth between like the spectrum, but I was like, that's a very, you know, I feel like it's a very common thing.
It is
to happen, and it's like it's a natural reflex, but it's just like, you know, and at the same time, I was like, we don't want to add more to this issue of like division, and we don't want to add more conflict, but it's just when something bad happens, like I have to
you label it. It's a natural thing.
Like, I'm working on it myself, but it's just
social. It's a social ingrained into us, and that's something that we need to like individually explore and acknowledge to try to stay away from it. Because you're right, we do go to that in a general sense.
And my mom said that. I was young.
Yeah.
And I feel she said that because I don't recall, but I want to feel that my brothers were heated and were saying things maybe they shouldn't have.
Right.
And I think that's why my mom said that, and I'll never forget that.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Because it was just like, no, like, we're not having that. And I was like, her face was, don't even want to remember that, but it was really bad. Yeah. And I was like looking at her, and I was just looking at the pain And it was painful to look at her like that, you know?
Exactly, and it's just as a child to see that happen to
and
your
then
mother.
she's saying, like, don't talk like that, like, it, you know, like, that's one person that has nothing to do with the color of his skin, nothing.
Yeah.
You know, he was on drugs, he was just, you know, whatever,
happened to
wrong
be
place.
there.
Yeah.
Right.
She's like, so they arrested
yeah.
him, it's what it is. And I'm like looking at her and I'm like, I can't.
That sounds like my mom.
can't
I would go
freaking
crazy
hate,
if anyone did that. I would be like, I would probably get arrested.
You don't even want to know.
Exactly.
Dude, we were in Long Beach. My mom and myself, we were at IKEA. And
we're making Long Beach sound horrible.
Listen,
Long Beach is a beautiful place.
I love Long Beach. It just, okay, so it was Carson, because IKEA's in Carson.
Carson,
so.
yeah, that is Carson. Yeah.
I've driven by
So,
that.
so
IKEA many
I
times.
literally went toe to toe with these two dudes because I was like about ready, and like all of a sudden, like this cop pulls up and they're like, "What's the problem?" And I was like, "They're being rude to my mother, and I'm going to kill them."
No,
But
no,
I wasn't. I was like a kid. I was like 16.
I've known Robin for years, okay? But the first... No,
I
hang
will
on.
beat you.
No, hang on. I've known Robin for years, and I'm going to say this real quick.
Oh, God.
But I've known Robin for years, and the first month, I think, that we were
dear
hanging
God,
out,
I am so
I've
sorry.
never met her mother, ever. At this time, point in time of our life, I've never
This
met
is
her
an
mother.
FYI for everybody. You all have to.
Okay, I've never physically met her mother. She's always talked about her mother. And then her mom, I think, called her. I don't remember what it was. And then Robin's like, I love my mom, like that. And I was like, yeah, your mom sounds like it. I like her too. She's cool, like that. And she's like, what do you mean you like my mom? You don't love my mom? And I was like looking at her and I was like, what?
There is only one correct answer, and you did not pick it.
Right. And I was like, I was like, I've never met your mom. I don't, because I've never even talked to her yet. And she was just like looking at me. She's like daggers out of her eyes. And I was like, oh my God, this girl is psychotic. I was just like, I don't know you.
I was young, but my mother is
Everything.
my heart.
No,
She
I
Young
know.
and
is
full
my
of
life.
like passionate fire. I'm like, that's how a lot of us are.
Yeah.
So we have to wrap it up, and
Okay.
we
I love
got to
you,
get you
Mom.
back.
Oh my, thank you for having me. This
Tell
is
me
so fun.
about, real quick, where can we find Nudes? Name the shows that you're plugging and anything else that you want to promote.
Okay, let's see. Well, I'm most active on Instagram. It's Joanne J Chew, so JoanneJchew, and I wrapped a couple projects that I am I'm working. I wrapped one, and I'm working on another. And I did ask if I was able to talk about it, and they're like, sure, just don't give away the important stuff.
Right.
But it's really funny that we were talking about like intuition and being like just so tapped into that, because I worked on a project called The Bug in the Wheel, and like, again, it's another incredible script, and it's about this community that is built on empathic transference. And in the weeks leading before the shoot, we shot on this beautiful property, and it was the rehearsal process was just like something that was so incredible, because they had the director is Max Kopelwitz. I'm sorry if I said his name wrong, but he's super talented, and the writer Edward Tyler, who's also one of the leads in the movie. They had us research, and they sent us a bunch of videos, and in the weeks before the shoot, we would just go and do like these, it's like really hard to explain, like we would do like mirroring exercises, and it's just learning about empathic transference, so that when it came time to shoot, like everybody, and it it's like, of course, it's like learn your lines, hit your mark, but it was just like such an intuitive situation to slip into. And when we shot it last year, but we just did some pickup shots, it was just incredible, like it was like no time had passed at all, and we went in, and everybody just like fell back into it, and it's just like, okay, it's like this house, and we remember like the characters we were and like the connections we had with each other. So that's like something I was very thankful to be a part of. And I'm working on another project. It's a comedic web series. It's very interesting. I was really excited because when I booked it, it wasn't like an Asian specific character, which is like, we can, like, I would love to talk about this like at another day.
Come back,
it's just like about diversity and stereotyping. Like, I was excited because it wasn't like an Asian specific role. Like, it could have been anybody, and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with like roles for Asian women, because that's awesome,
right? But
it's just okay, like, and it's such a collaborative effort, director and the writers, Michael Mandeville, like he's been crafting the script around the actors, like just after seeing us interact and like get to know each other. He's like, okay, like I see like this person, like the rhythm, and like he's like, it's just so amazing, because I'm just like, this is why I love filmmaking. It's like the artistry of just like connecting everybody, and it's just like we're truly building it together. Like we don't know where this could end up. We're letting it grow like very organically, which is something I'm super excited about. So it's a very I'm very fortunate and very blessed right now.
Awesome.
Yes.
So we definitely have to have you come back so we can go more into depth in both projects. So Robin, thanks for co-hosting today.
Yeah.
Joanne, awesome. Thank you for being here.
Having me.
All right, everyone have a safe and happy St. Patty's Day
And a great
Sunday.
birthday week.
Happy birthday, all the Pisces and
March, baby.
and future almost Aries.
Right.
Pisces and Aries transition time. I don't know. That sounded weird. Okay, never mind.
All right, thank you, everyone.
You're listening to Female Filmmakers Fuse with Alexa Polar and Robin Pabello, only on LA Talk Radio.